Hi YouTube and welcome back to my Let's Play World of Warcraft on Wednesdays. So we are at the Caverns of Time in Tanarus, and I'm going to be playing through the various instances of the Caverns of Time over the next few weeks, starting with the escape from Durnholde Keep, which is a historical event where Thrall actually escapes from Durnholde Keep, and it was that event that led him to become the leader of the Horde originally. So, apparently there's some dragon or something that can control time and has gone back in time and tried to change history, and so we're having to go and fix the timeline. Basically, is what you do here in the Caverns of Time. And I'm just including this opening sequence here of how you get into the Caverns of Time in the first place. Once you've located the external thing, and you kind of hop on this dragon, and he kind of flies you down into the caverns itself. So I just thought I'd kind of include this little bit here going forward. All the rest of the instances are going to be with me just kind of starting off from this vantage point, so to speak. Okay, so here is all of the different instances and everything, and some of them may be raids, but all of the 5-mans are the ones that I'm going to be doing. So oh yes, I was supposed to turn in one of the quests from something else that I did before, and I didn't keep the quest items, so I'm like, okay, never mind. In the meantime, let's go ahead and kind of get going, and let's go towards the there we go, the escape from Durnholde Keep instance. So just kind of flying towards that right now, and here we go, getting inside there. Alright, so we are now inside the instance, and you may not be able to tell from this vantage point, but I'm actually human now and not a blood elf in this particular instance, because you're supposed to fit in with the time. So, since I went back in time, and we're going to be in the kind of Terran Mill area, and at that time it was all controlled by humans. There were no undead and that kind of thing, so I now kind of look like a human death knight rather than an undead or a blood elf or anything else. So alright, so the first part of this chain is to we have to go ahead and burn the internment lodges, and Brazen here is going to fly us over to Durnholde Keep. And you can run over there if you want to. You can just mount your own mounts and kind of run over there, or you can take the dragon. The dragon isn't that much faster. It kind of takes you on a scenic route. You can see this is Terran Mill in the past, before it got all corrupted and in disrepair and everything like it is today. And I don't even remember how far in the past this is. I don't know how old Thrall is, but this is obviously before Thrall took control of the Horde. He's an adult, but he's a young adult still. I don't know if he's supposed to be a teenager or like in his 20s equivalent. You know, again, I don't know how long orcs are supposed to live in the first place, so it's just like trying to do a human equivalent to that. And I'm sure that there's some information somewhere about how long ago in the past this was, but I'm always surprised at how different this region is compared to the way it is today, based on, you know, the fact that it's just in Thrall's past. It's not that far in the past. It's not like thousands and thousands of years ago and that kind of thing. So it's interesting to see what the level of disrepair that has happened from the time of Thrall's youth to today within the game. So anyway, so here's Durnholde Keep, and we'll just kind of get started. This is definitely one that I've run with my guild a few times. I don't remember if I was still doing a healer or if I was at this point starting to play. No, I wouldn't have had my Death Knight yet, so I would have been the healer still, because I didn't switch to melee until we started having Death Knights, which didn't happen with Burning Crusade, it didn't happen until Wrath of the Lich King. So, and that's when I started playing with my Death Knight, was the Wrath of the Lich King instances and everything. So here I'm trying to figure out, okay, in what sequence am I supposed to do things? I don't always remember the sequence of things, but alright, so we need to be burning down these internment camp buildings, and I'm looking. Okay, so here's the incendiary devices, and I didn't remember at first like how I was supposed to handle that, but I eventually figure out, oh, I'm supposed to just click on the barrels inside the buildings. Alright, fine. So, and I kind of cut out some of my confused running around trying to figure out how am I supposed to activate these again. In the meantime, we're just going to kind of go in here and just kind of get rid of all of these Durnholde troops of various flavors. And there we go. There's this part I edited out. And it's like, okay, now you just click on the barrels. That's it. That's all you have to do. Alright. Alright, so that's 1 out of 5 set. And we just have to... There's 5 buildings. 3 on this side, and 2 more on the other side of the bridge. And then after that, we can go and hunt out Thrall and rescue him, and then that's kind of like the second phase. The first phase is burn down the internment buildings, and the second phase is rescue Thrall, and then the final phase is help Thrall find his friend, and eventually like defeat the final boss is in that sequence as well. So. Alright, so we got 2, and number 3, and then we're just going to get the next 2 barrels with incendiary devices, and then we will be good. And I apologize if you hear any beeping in the background. We've got the construction crews working again across the street, so I'm not sure if my mic is picking that up or not, but it's pretty obvious that I can hear it, so I'm thinking the mic probably can hear it too. Alright, so last 2 buildings that we need to burn down, and when you place the last one out of the 5, that's when all the buildings go off all at the same time. I think it's meant to be a distraction all around, so. And it's pretty distracting when all the buildings are burning at the same time. Alright, that's number 4, so 1 more to go. And we can go rescue Thrall. Actually, kind of miss Thrall as the leader of the Horde. The new guy has been less than hospitable, so to speak. Alright. And for those of you who've been playing Mists of Pandaria, you'll know that the end sequence. Oh, there we go. All the buildings are burning now. But near the end sequence of Mists of Pandaria, Thrall, not Thrall, but Thrall's successor, Hellscream, he kind of runs into some problems. Just in case you haven't played that far, I'm not gonna spoil it entirely. Oh, here we go. Lieutenant Drake. Here's the first boss. He gets alerted when all the buildings are on fire and everything. This guy seems so much easier than when I was at level. I was originally worried, like, oh my gosh, is this gonna be, harder to do or what? And it's interesting because these dungeons are almost like the new scenarios that have been brought out with the Mists of Pandaria. So, and it's almost like soloing the new scenarios, except for the fact that it's so much easier. Alright. So I know Thrall's in the basement somewhere. I just need to kind of get rid of these guys first. I figured I was going to aggro them. Alright. Yes, I'll take this guy out, so he won't be a pain later as we're escaping. Okay. Yep, there's the dungeon, the basement entrance. And there's Thrall. Yep, there he is. Alright. Quest bit first. Accept it. And then I'm like, okay, are you gonna follow me? Are you gonna come out? What's going on? He's not doing anything. Yeah, there we go. That's what I gotta do. Okay. So now we just kind of follow Thrall around and make sure he doesn't die. If Thrall dies, we fail. That's bottom line. The objective of this dungeon is to keep Thrall alive. Because he kind of gets into the thick of it, everything, no matter what, one way or the other. Yep, there we go. You put some armor on and get some weapons. Okay, so he's set. We follow him out. And of course, you know, even though I cleared all the guards and stuff out here, there's new ones. You know, generally you don't have respawns, and these aren't respawns, these are ads that have been generated by Thrall being let out. So alright, when he always has to reset himself, he has to run back and then come forward, blah blah blah. Alright, so there's more ads. But we'll be escaping fairly shortly. There's only, I think, 1 or 2 more groups that we have to fight, and it's pretty quick. I mean, this instance, I mean, this entire video is about 20 minutes long, right? And so that is, you know, doing the entire sequence as you're supposed to, but being able to just kill everything much more quickly. So you can imagine how much longer this particular instance would have been if I was doing it at level with, you know, a team of 5 people. Each one of these fights can last, you know, instead of, you know, 15-20 seconds, it'll last, you know, 5 minutes to kind of get things killed properly. The boss fights, you know, could last, you know, 5 to 10 minutes depending on how many different phases they have and that kind of thing. And I can just kind of whoop them before they even get to go into their faces. And I'd be fighting him right now, but he doesn't let me just yet. I have to wait until he's finished with the preachy stuff. Alright, now we can attack him. Alright, so not too bad. Got that taken care of. And then it's like, okay, now what do we do? And I think I gotta talk to Thrall again. Yes, I do. Alright. So can I read through that a little bit? So I have to make sure Taritha is safe. Where is she? She's in Terran Mill. Okay. So now Thrall gets up on this horse. And we'll just ride along with him. Although it's funny, his horse is kind of slow compared to ours. I'll just kind of slowly but surely kind of go on ahead of him. He does one clever thing. Instead of, you know, going straight to Terra Mill through the front door and everything, he's kind of gets clever and sneaks in the back way. Although we have to cross the river first and get over the bridge before we can do that. There he comes. I always get paranoid about getting too far away from any escort quest. I don't know if it's still the case, but back in the day, if you got too far ahead or too far was left too far behind, you'd sever the connection, so to speak, and you'd have to start the whole thing all over again, which is a shame. So I'm always paranoid. I don't know if this particular quest even has that option. But I figured better safe than sorry, just kind of stick with them. Because you also never know if all of a sudden a surprise patrol would pop up and kill them and stuff as well, so. Let's take a bear that's in our way. And then all of a sudden he decides to go up that way. Yay! Alright, so we're in Terran Mill. Thrall kind of scares off the horse. And now we just kind of talk to him again and activate the next sequence. I think he pauses at different points so that if your team needs to heal or eat or, you know, get buffs, that kind of thing, that they can kind of do all that first. Alright, so first we go into the barn. And we kind of have to wait for people to show up and stuff. In fact, you can see here now, hey, I think I saw something going into the barn. So if you look at the text going by on the bottom left there. And then all of a sudden the horses get frightened and Thrall tries to quiet them down. And then they're like, hey, there is someone in there. Let's go. And I wish they would hurry up. There they are. Kick your butts faster if you show quicker. Okay. Now we just kind of go to the next place in town, which is the church. So he keeps looking for his friend Taretha. Okay, here we go. Here's the church. Nope, no one in here. And here comes our next group of ads. And then you'll notice the end sequence is will have a bit of a jump in it. Unfortunately, my game completely locked up at one point while we were in the end. And I had to kind of shut the game down and restart it. And so, thankfully, I was able to go from where I left off. But, you know, you can see Taretha is in that bedroom, in the room behind us. But the sequence where we talk to her and everything is... I lost that sequence there. Okay, so now the final boss here, the Epoch Hunter, he's the one who's been kind of trying to manipulate the time streams and change history. And so we now have to defeat him. Well, first we gotta defeat his dragonkin, and then we have to defeat him, and then everything will go back the way it's supposed to be. Alright. Alright, so that's the first group. First wave, so to speak. Second wave is coming from the side. I do remember this part being actually pretty difficult. This was a hard fight, and definitely our team wiped a few times before we were able to actually finish this final boss and everything. So I do remember running this one quite a few times, and sometimes we wiped a couple of times, sometimes we didn't. I think as we got more proficient, we were less likely to wipe. Alright, so now I think we got rid of the final wave there, and I think it's time for the boss to come down. Yep, here he comes. Alright, let's take him out. Should be a piece of cake again. Yep, there he goes. Alrighty, that takes care of that. So now Taretha comes out and she's like cheering and happy because the spell is broken. And now Thrall's like, hey, I couldn't have done this without your friends. She's like, what friends? I don't have any friends. I've never seen these people before. What? And when they say that in plural, they're assuming there's a 5-man running this instance, but obviously there isn't. Okay, so this guy is now retconned these guys' memory, so they won't remember anything that happened, so that history can go on as normal. And that's pretty much the end of that. Not sure what the next run is yet. I haven't looked at the whole list of instances and the ones I can do, but I hope you enjoyed this one. These are going to all be a little bit longer. They have a definite time sequences and everything, so I apologize for that in advance. But anyway, thanks for joining me, and I hope you to see you next time, or to see me next time. Anyway, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.